Good afternoon, colleagues. We are just about ready to get started. Welcome to the evening symposium of our 2022 research conference. We're happy that at the start of our program, we have approximately 55 persons online and raring to go. My name is Tamara Scott McFarlane, and we are going to get the program off to a start. I'll serve as your moderator today. My role is simply to guide you through the process. Our research day is being celebrated under the theme, Research and Innovation, Building Blocks for Resilience and Sustainability. When we think about that, we must always look at one's ability to bounce back, one's ability to handle upsetting situations and using research to bounce back from that, to handle that. The other aspect is to examine how do we maintain that. So now that we have bounced back from that potentially frustrating situation, how then do we maintain that? And so our program today was really highlighting that there's a strong focus on resilience. What is it that students are doing, faculty members are doing, administrators are doing? And so we're happy to continue the conversation today. And what I'm particularly pleased about is that the lineup of panelists for today are student presenters. Some of the names I'm recognizing and I'm really so happy to see, but it shows us that as an institution, we are engaging our constituents or students in this whole research process. And so we're going to be looking forward to hearing what is it that they have to say. So at this point in time, before we get into the meat of the matter, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our administrators online. So Principal McCarthy, or Vice Principal, Dr. Zaria Malcolm Walker. We have deans online. We have heads of schools. We have our administrative support and various other support, or special guest speakers, or students. And we're so happy to have you online with us. So to get started, we are going to be following the program as it is. So we're going to call on Reverend Alvin Ross to open the proceedings with prayer for us. Sir Ross?
Reverend Ross is online.
I am checking the participants list. I am not seeing him online just now.
Let us pray. Dear good and righteous Father, as we come before you this afternoon, we thank you for life. We thank you for the Excelsior Community College. We thank you, Lord, for the staff and students. We thank you, God, for this event. And as we're about to embark on this evening's proceedings, we welcome your Holy Spirit. We welcome your presence to guide and orchestrate our steps. Father God, we pray for your direction. We pray that all the presenters will be anointed and be enlightened to share their knowledge and their expertise. And I pray, God, that our audience will benefit and see how to apply these principles and concepts to enhancing their lives and their professional and academic pursuits. We pray your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Dean Sawyers Haylett, for opening with prayer for us. Now, at this time, we invite our principal, Mr. Fillmore McCarthy, who will present us with a welcome. And while Principal McCarthy gets himself prepared, our greeting will continue with Dr. Zaria Malcolm Walker, and we also ask that members of the School of Performing Arts be prepared to present their special item. So, Mr. McCarthy, we await your welcome.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you, moderator, for inviting me to participate in this evening's event. Mrs. Tamara Scott. To the other members, the special guest speaker. I see we have an outstanding students, alumni, Marshary Borel Johnson, and another outstanding alumni keynote speaker, Shamila McGregor. Let me welcome you to the Excelsior Community College and welcome all the senior executive, Dr. Malcolm and your team and other members, and most importantly, welcome to our students that is with us this afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure to share with you in the symposium at this point in time. In fact, I believe that this is the first time we would have been having a symposium as part of the research day activities. And it's most appropriate that as we celebrate our 10th research day activity, that we can, in fact, enable and allow our even students to participate in these activities. The development of the culture of research at Excelsior Community College is of significant importance because we believe that it is as a result of the research that we have done that has enabled us to continue to deliver the quality services that we have offered in the past. The theme for this year's 10th anniversary research symposium speak to the issue of higher education and resilience and sustainability in a COVID and post-COVID era. And what is important about that is, when we talk about resilience, we are talking about the ability to recover when you have a crisis, the ability to adapt, the ability to withstand pressures within the environment that you operate. And it is so important that, we develop a resilient institution and to have students that are also resilient in their pursuit of the educational journey. And it speaks to the issue of sustainability. What does that mean? It is the ability to treat with at least, we live in a three-dimensional world, I would think. And in that three-dimensional world, we have to look at what are the activities, what is the environment within which we operate, and are we able to navigate that environment to ensure that we remain relevant. We have to look at the socio-economic components, people's life, people's behavior. When persons invest their money with us, how do we ensure that they achieve their educational investment? And finally, sustainability speaks to financial viability. Can the institution remain financially viable? This evening, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you that the Excelsior Community College has in fact been able to develop a strategic plan prior to the pandemic. And that strategic plan was developed utilizing what I refer to as 4 R's. Rethink our position. The second R was to reimagine ourselves, ask ourselves, in the higher education market, where do we want to position the Excelsior Community College? And having identified those, our next issue was, how do we restructure? How do we reorganize ourselves? And the final R was to reset for student success, because what we're about is to ensure that our students are successful in their endeavor. Fortunately, having done that, the Excelsior Community College was able to withstand the COVID pandemic era. We were able to withstand it on the basis that prior to COVID, we had invested heavily in ICT. We were one of the first colleges to have had a fiber backbone that links all our offsite campus. A lot of you will not have realized that. And although we may have had internet challenges at some time, our backbone enabled us to sustain the pressure that was provided on us. Prior to that, we invest in online Canvas and access to Moodle platform. So within 2 weeks or so, we were able to transition to an online environment. Notwithstanding the challenges that come with online, the Excelsior Community College was able to adjust to the new realities. And that has now made us good going forward, because we have observed that a number of our students want to remain online. So we will continue to invest in the online capabilities. And that is about sustainability. We have also put in place, in terms of restructuring different departments. We had our Office of Distance Education. And what this office was able to do during the pandemic, we developed online training courses for our faculty. Our lecturers were able to go online and learn by themselves and with tutoring from persons in that department how to use the Canvas system, how to use Moodle, how to go online, and how to transition their face-to-face classes to an online class. And that has enabled us to deliver our program online. We again restructure to ensure that our Office of Cultural Exchange and Internationalization and Cultural Exchange remain functional. Despite the pandemic, the Excelsior Community College was still able to send students overseas on their work and travel program, albeit a reduced number. Again, that was because we restructured to ensure that we had a unit that had special responsibility. We also restructured to ensure that we had a unit that was involved in workforce development. So we had a team where our lecturers went to institution, thanks to the Ministry of Education, because they were the pilot group and persons are still there. We send our lecturers to these locations to deliver the course. So in terms of our capacity, by that restructuring and the efforts of our team members made the college resilient. Again, when you look at our quality assurance, we developed an internal quality assurance unit. And guess what happened? During the pandemic, those persons were able, working with the team under their leadership, we received our ISO certification, International Standard for an Efficient Management Information System. We subjected ourselves to audit, and the results of it showed that we now have an efficient internal management system. However, we have to keep working at it. It's not yet perfect. There are still areas that need improvement. But despite the pandemic, we were able to do that. And what that does for as part of our going forward post-pandemic allows us for the internationalization of the Excelsior product. So persons from overseas will now see that we're operating at an international standard, so they can come to us as part of their educational journey. And finally, we went through the process of institutional accreditation. We achieved institutional accreditation candidacy status in March 2019. And during the pandemic, we were able to invite overseas assessors, invite the University Council of Jamaica to do their evaluation, complete our self-study, and we now await the outcome of those evaluations. Colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen, today I am proud to be the team leader for the Excelsior Community College. I've said to my team over and over again that I represent the face of the college, but the work really occurs with the team, with all our executive staff, and with you, the students, because without your work and without your effort, when the evaluation is being done, they don't just evaluate what management does or what the lecturers are doing. They look to see the students, what they're doing, and the product that we have developed and the profile of our graduate. And today, I must say thanks. I feel proud to be a part of Excelsior, and even more proud to be an Excelsiorian myself. Let me say thanks to the team for organizing this symposium. Thanks to VP Dr. Zara Malcolm for academic and institutional advancement and the research unit for making this event possible this afternoon. I say thank you, and may God continue to bless you, bless our institution, and bless Jamaica, land we love. Thank you. Have a marvelous afternoon.
Thank
Back
you.
to you, Ms. Scott.
Thank you so very much, Principal McCarthy. Your presentation demonstrated resilience and sustainability in action. And what is it that the college has been doing? In the end, we can take what you say, the internationalization of the Excelsior product. So thanks for that. We now call on Dr. Malcolm Walker as she presents us with her greetings.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott McFarlane. I want to first of all recognize our principal, Mr. McCarthy. I'm not sure if Mrs. Jacobs is online, but she was with us earlier. And so VP Jacobs, VP of Student Affairs, to our guest speaker and our keynote speaker, to my colleagues who have joined us online, and to you, the students, and any other guests who are with us. Good evening and welcome to our 10th annual research conference here at ECC. This research conference really is a baby, my brainchild, so to speak, in terms of the institution. And I couldn't have done it without the work of the Research and Innovation Division team. We've had team members change throughout the years, but the commitment to the process, the support we get from our colleagues here at ECC to make the day a reality is really one that I can't say enough about. And we would not have been able to get to 10 years, although for some institutions, 10 years is nothing. But for us, it really is an achievement, because throughout these 10 years, we've really seen some phenomenal work from our students and staff and our invited guests. And in the last 2 years, we've been able to take the conference international, and we see increasing presence of international presenters. Now, just to let you know, I think Mr. McCarthy has forgotten in the excitement of the 10th year, but a couple years ago, we decided to host the evening symposium. And this was primarily because we recognized that our evening students, who are some of our most focused stakeholders in the institution, really did not have an opportunity to participate in the research day, research conference activities. And so although the day would have started at 9 a.m., at 7 for some of us, we felt the need to come back or extend the evening session so that our evening students in particular would be able to benefit from a similar exercise. And so for the last few years, we've had this evening symposium specifically for you, our evening students, because most, if not all of you, do courses called research methods and research seminars. And so what you have here is really just recognizing the growth of your research from inception through to completion. And you have an opportunity and a space to share that research with your colleagues, with your family, to have them come and really see your efforts in the classroom in practice. And so we're really pleased with the products that we have in terms of the evening symposium. I want to really commend all the students in particular and staff members who have joined us online, because your presence really is appreciated. And for those evening students who are online and who are in 4th year, I guarantee you that next year, you will be some of the presenters on the program. For those who are junior to the 4th years, your time will come. And so you will have an opportunity to share about your work. So thank you for joining. I know you are going to be truly enriched by the sharing that's going to happen this evening. And learn from what is going to be shared and go back to your classrooms, particularly the research students, and talk about your experiences here this evening, because it doesn't stop here. Research is not just for the classroom exercise. It is something that is going to serve you well throughout your lives, regardless professional, personal lives. The tenets and the values that you learn in doing research will just enhance your life experience. And so thank you from the Research and Innovation Division. My team have been here from morning, and I just want to thank them so much for their commitment to having this day and having this event and to making our 10th anniversary one to remember. So we look forward to the presentations, and I'm just now going to sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentations to be made by our invited speakers and our student presenters. So have a wonderful evening, everyone.
All right, thank you so very much, Dr. Malcolm Walker, for the reminder that our primary stakeholders, our students, are the driving force behind this evening symposium. I will look forward to that. And again, reiterating the power of research in changing lives, and I'm sure they can talk about the changes. At this time, we're going to have a pre-recorded session, a pre-recorded performance by the School of Performing Arts. They have been very instrumental in using research to change the landscape of the visual and performing arts. And so we look forward to their presentation. Awaiting the cue from the IT persons. So we're in the virtual space, and we understand that there are challenges from time to time. So we can still continue our conversations until that is good. So what we're supposed to move on to outside of the presentation from School of Performing Arts, which we can get at any point in time in our presentation, we are going to talk to or have our alumni speak to us. So today's or this evening's symposium will be zeroing in on the value and contribution that Excelsior has made to two outstanding individuals. We're going to start with Mrs. Marshary Borel Johnson, an intrinsically motivated, goal-oriented individual with a drive to achieve exceptional results. Mrs. Marshary Borel Johnson is currently employed to the Bank of Nova Scotia and is a proud past student of the Excelsior Community College with a degree in marketing. Now, Mrs. Borel Johnson comes to us with a wealth of experience, over 21 years in sales, 19 of which was spent in the financial sector. Her experience is massive: customer service, credit adjudication, delinquency management, recruitment, product development, and marketing. And of course, as the proud alumna, she has been awarded Manager of the Year for 4 consecutive years of the 6 years that she spent with one prominent institution. Mrs. Marshary Borel Johnson, we look forward to hearing from you. We look forward to your sharing your experience in building resilience and maintaining sustainability as we invite you to the podium to give your presentation. Those persons who are online, we can utilize our reaction buttons or open our mics and clap as Mrs. Borel Johnson does her presentation. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all. So this evening, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about research, how research has actually impacted me, and along the way, how important it has been to my success that I've had to date. All right. And most importantly, as you would have heard, the role that Excelsior would have played in this progress. So at this time, I just want to share with you, what is research? And that's a question a lot of us would ask from time to time. And I'm going to share with you, according to the American sociologist, Earl Robert Babbitt, Research is a systematic inquiry to describe and explain and control the observed phenomenon. Now, there are actually two methods that are oftenly used when it is that you're conducting your research, and that is the qualitative and the quantitative methods. And the qualitative method involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand the concepts, opinion, or experience. While the quantitative is data that is used to quantify attitudes, behavior, and other defined values. It uses measurable data to formulate facts and uncover patterns. Now, as stated, qualitative and quantitative, right? We're quite familiar with those. So we talk about research quite often, but what is the purpose of research? Why do I need to conduct a research? And pretty much we do this in our day-to-day activity without realizing it quite often. So what we find is that a research pretty much helps us. It is a form that helps us to look at our actions. It informs our actions, and it helps us to gather evidence because we want to know what others would have already figured out or find out about what it is that we want to inquire. Now, most importantly, it could also be that we want to find out something new. We want to find out more about what is happening, and it's happening right now. We're in a pandemic. And so every single day you're hearing that we are actually conducting research because we want to know more about what is happening with this virus. Really, it is moving pretty fast, as you can see, but it allows us the opportunity to continue to want to know more about what is happening. Why is research important though? It is a tool for building knowledge because it allows us the opportunity to know more about what is happening. It helps to facilitate learning. It is a means to understand issues, right? And also it helps to increase public awareness. And that is why we continue to hear about what is happening, the developments, and the progress that would have been made so far in terms of the pandemic and the virus, what they would have learned in terms of the research. And the research comes from taking samples, etc., from persons, and that is done in and around us. It helps us also from a business perspective. So it helps if it is that you are conducting a business or you're interested in operating a business. Doing your research also helps, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that further on. It allows us to disprove lies and support truth, right? It does. It is a means to find, engage, and seize opportunities. And we're also going to hear more about that later, because once it is that you're operating your business, I'm sure we're all in business to make a profit. And so research is important, and it is a key component to business's success. It promotes a love of confidence and in reading and writing and analyzing. If you're someone who pretty much likes to do assessment and analyze things around you, then research is something that you will love. It is also an opportunity if it is that you have a hobby. I guarantee you that this is something that you do quite often. You want to keep abreast of, if you're a lover of technology, you want to know what's the new thing coming out, what's happening there in the segment. And so you're going to be locked into not what is just happening right here locally, but internationally as well. And you're going to be on that. Pretty much, I'm sure some of you can connect with me right now, because For those who are locked into sports, quite competitive, want to know what the results are or what it has been for the past couple of years. I'm not going to call any specific name right now because I may get into trouble for football right now. So I'm not going to call any sides right now, but you know. And there are some of us, because we know what the stats are, it's something that we actually study. We can predict somewhat what the outcome would be. And at some point we find ourselves taking a guess because we may not have the information that is most current. That also plays a role in terms of the research. You have to ensure that you remain current with your information. So as we say in Jamaica, you have to stay on top of things. All right. So that is a key component that you want to ensure. Now, I am actually going to take this home a little bit for us, right? So let's look a little bit more at research and research professionally and how it is that it will help you to grow. Now, I am sure in connecting to the students right now that a lot of us would want to buy phones, and we tend to want some of the most newest phones coming out. But before we even buy those phones, I guarantee you that you would have gone to do your research because you want to know what the speed is like. You want to know the weight of the phone. You want to ensure that you're able to get on those sites so you can do your videos. You want to do your TikTok and all of that. So you want to find out the space on the phone and so on and so forth. So I can guarantee you that you are going to be checking out the specs on the phones before even saying, I want to take this phone. The market is quite competitive. And so you'd also want to know if you want to have a, well, let me just choose one right now, iPhone, right? Which one do you want? And it also goes back to what you can afford right now. Because we have this saying that you may have a champagne taste with a bag juice pocket, right? So you also need to research to see what is important. You also have to be mindful of what I have available to me right now, right? Is it going to be able to help me to achieve what I want to achieve? So I may not be able to afford an iPhone right now, an iPhone even 7, 13, but I may be able to afford a Samsung, right? So most importantly, it is for you to do the research to identify what is most important to you, what it is that you want to be able to achieve from that. Now, simple. Will I be able to record my video as I would like? Will I have enough space? So I'm going to have to compare which of the phones will be able to give me that whilst keeping at the forefront the cost. How much money do I have available to me to be able to do that? Now, I'm talking to persons who pretty much spend a lot of time looking at these things and checking out the most recent information in terms of gadgets, etc. So I know I'm connecting to you. So I'm going to bring something even home right now. You are currently attending Excelsior Community College. And I'm sure before coming to Excelsior Community College, you would have also gone to do your own research. Maybe you started a year ago, 2 years ago. But in addition to that, I can guarantee you that you started looking for what was the cost to do a particular model, or if it is that you want to do a particular study, then you'd have also gone to see what the competitors were offering, right? You'd also gone to look at what is the rating like for the school. And so you would have been able to do your comparison. In doing that comparison, you would have also been able to take your decision. And voila, you're at Excelsior Community College, right? With that level of assessment. So again, we actually do this every single day. Now, let's take it a little bit further. Right now, there's a lot that is taking place around us. If it is that you're operating your business right now, I'm sure you are looking at your utility bills, you're looking at the stock in the business. And even if you're not operating your business personally, you're assessing the income you have available to you right now, given the purchasing power of that dollar. And so it forces you literally to look at where you're going to purchase, look at the markup value on those particular items, especially the day-to-day items. Most importantly, you also have to assess what are the items you need now and what are the items you want. So you are at that point again of spending time to do research to see which supermarket I can get more value for my money. Or you may just decide, instead of going home and heading back out, to pretty much go back to the supermarket, which it is that I can pass on my way home, stop, get what I need to save on petrol and also time, etc. That sort of assessment you'll do. Now, what is the impact of that? If you're operating your business, for example, and we can take a look at the food industry, the education, which we just looked at. Most importantly, one that is booming right now as well. Who can guess that? Yes, it's the construction industry, doing extremely well right now, right? And I'm sure a lot of us can see if it is that you're actually the owner of a hardware, yes, things are heading in the right direction for you right now because we see it happening all around us. Persons are actually, capitalizing on the opportunity that exists now in that industry. Now, if it is, for example, you're operating your business, which is a food business, and you want to be able to find a location, it means, therefore, you're going to look at what sort of food you're actually going to be offering and where is the best location to place that. Ultimately, you're in business to make a profit. And so doing the research to find out how many businesses like yours exist in the area, where would be the best area to go, what are the needs of the persons in those respective areas, are key components that you would have to ensure that you do your research. Now, the research can take various forms. You can use a survey. You can go out using a questionnaire. However you choose, most importantly is that you must, before you take the decision, get the information of what is happening. Data is also available. And so you can also utilize existing data so that you are able to take the right decision. You're in business to make money, and so it is important that you take the time out to do the research. The research in terms of taking the decision that you take must also help to take you towards making the decision that will drive efficiency, effectiveness, competitive advantage, and ultimately profits. And so I want to share with you that it is important that you use the basic steps towards taking the decision required. And so the fundamental of that is doing your research. To start off, you must know why it is that you want to do this research. Ultimately, identifying the information, evaluating the information, and implementing based on the assessment you would have done. Now, in closing, I want to share with you that being a part of several institutions, a key component has always been that I stay abreast of what is happening in the industry. I must also be on top of what is happening with my competitors. If I'm in the area of sales, then it simply means I must know what my competitors are offering. I must know their rates. I must know the tenure. I must know their products. And so I must remain competitive. I must also know what it is my customers are asking for. Do I have it or do I need to get it? And so in closing, I share with you and urge you to do your research before you take on any activity, especially now. Research is important for your survival and for you to remain extremely competitive. At this time, I say thank you so much to listening to me and for sharing with you these tips that I hope and implore you to implement in your activities. Thank you.
Mrs. Borel Johnson, thank you. Thank you. You made research seem so practical and fun. I actually noticed how you placed it in bite-sized pieces so everybody could appreciate that whatever you do, there is an element of research in it. Now, before we move on to our next alumna presenter, we have our performing arts presentation ready. So I'll ask our audiovisual assistants to cue that up for us.
Every day I rise on a prayer. It's all I got to take me through. Every day I rise on a prayer. I know one day I must and I will. Yeah. Free myself from everything that holds me captive. Gonna be free like a bird in the sky. Gonna be free, gonna fly so high. Gotta be free, gotta free my mind. Gonna be free, gonna fly so high. Life is so sweet and I don't wanna die, but these burdens I bear gonna be hard sometimes. Food's here, summer juggle everywhere. Sometimes food make a move, I can't find a boss fear. Go look for Mama Jay, she said no another dear. All the youths in face, I feel the pain. Ooh, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, oh, oh. No one, no cry. No one, no cry. Yeah, yeah. No one, no cry. No one, no cry. Yeah, remember where we used to sit in a government yard on a trench town. I'm observing the hypocrites mingle with the good people we meet. Yeah, yeah. Everything is gonna be alright. 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 No one will cry. No one will cry. Yeah, yeah. No one will cry. Yeah, yeah. No one will cry.
Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. If I were to do a poll now, how many of us were singing along with her as she belted out those tunes? And the optics was quite good. Her shirt says the Black Queen, and her voice was just as royal. I I need to echo what is in the chat. I know we heard an echo coming out, but based on what Dr. Malcolm Walker and Mr. Shanda are saying, it never took away from the quality of your presentation. Thank you so very much. We appreciated that rendition. Now, from one Black Queen to another one, this individual, we're going to move on to our next speaker. Now, this individual has an interesting history. When you read her bio, you're seeing massive involvement in Excelsior Community College. Shamala McGregor, most know her from the Students' Union, and her bio indicated that she served there for 2 years, both as secretary and department representative. She was a very involved student while here at the college. She engaged in co-curricular activities, visited Golden Age homes, served as mentor, campus counselor, and she was a recipient of the Chairman's Award 2 years in a row, as well as the Principal's Award. She's a proud recipient of the Excelsior Spirit of Excelsior Award, and she can boast about the scholarships that she has received. Now, she has 10 years experience in client services, 5 years in microlending and financial services. She has a long career of volunteerism and mentorship. And so, without any further ado, I invite Ms. Shamala McGregor to come to the platform, virtual platform, and share with us her perspective on research, building resilience, maintaining sustainability. Ms. McGregor, please.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All protocols observed. Thank you, speaker, for your introduction. Hello, students. Thank you guys for having me here this evening. I am honored to be a part of this forum on my 3rd year anniversary of graduating, well, of completing my studies at Excelsior. So I thank you guys for inviting me. Today, I will be sharing some pointers on research and innovation. I will try to be as practical as I can be because Mrs. Johnson did an awesome presentation in outlining some very vital points, some of which I would have here, but I won't bother to go into again. What I'll go into though is I'll speak to you guys on how research has helped me in choosing Excelsior, how it helped me while I was a student at Excelsior, and how it has helped me to move over into my professional aspect of life. All right, so I'll start by giving you just a synopsis of what research is to me, or what it most demonstrates to me. So research can be defined as the main purpose. Well, the main purpose of research is to inform, is to provide us with informed action, gather evidence for theories, and contribute to developing knowledge in a field of study or a profession. When carrying out research, it is important that we open our minds to accept what will be brought to the forefront, because most of what will be discovered may be information that we were not familiar with, and information can guide us to a path or help us to make decisions that are useful, that are strategic, and that are beneficial to us. Some tools that are necessary in doing research or carrying out research is I'm going to go into these tools now. So one of the most necessary reasons is for building knowledge and facilitating learning. So I'm going to tie this to a particular experience I had when I came to Excelsior. So when I came to Excelsior, I remember in my first year, first semester, I did well in the first semester, and I remember getting good grades. I think I did like 6 courses and I got 5 B's. And I remember one of my classmates said to me, "Shamola, you go make it on the honor roll, man." And I said, honor roll? And she said, yeah, because if you get 6 A's, you can make it on the honor roll. I didn't know of the honor roll prior to her saying that. So I went ahead and I did my research. And I realized that if it's not necessarily if you got 6 A's, but it's if you attained a certain GPA. So I made it my point of duty to commit myself to getting that GPA to get me to make sure that I would land on the honor roll. But from my research, I had also found out that it's not only the GPA that would get you the award, that it is also your involvement in school life. So I made sure again to put myself in a position where I could get involved. So even though I was a full-time student that worked part-time, I tried my best to get involved in different activities. And when I was going to Excelsior, when I enrolled, I did not have the financial support. I had to do everything in my powers to ensure that I was shortlisted on one of those scholarship lists, on the principal's award list. I had to put myself in the position to become one of those recipients. And it is research that actually led me there. So by carrying out my research, I was able to find out what the requirements were, what the GPA was to get shortlisted for, say, a principal's award, not only a principal's award, but for a chairman award, and to be able to be even shortlisted for a scholarship, which I was badly in need of. Research is also necessary as it is a means to understand issues and increase public awareness. Now, as Mrs. Johnson made reference to in her presentation, with the COVID-19 pandemic that we are still in, regardless of the drop that we had earlier this year, as you would have known that with COVID, a lot of persons were unaware because most people would not have gone through an experience like this before. So there were a lot of information, some of it were myth, some of it were misleading, and a lot of confusion were caused by some of the information that was being put out there. So it was very important for persons to carry out their personal research, especially where the vaccine was concerned. And if you wanted to make the best choice for you, it would have been in your best interest to do the necessary research on the different vaccines and what are the side effects and how it could have helped you. So that would have helped us, or we would have seen there where research would have contributed significantly for us to become publicly aware of what is happening around us and the necessary decisions that we had to take for our best interests. Research helps us to succeed in business. Now, for me, I'm currently employed as a financial services specialist. And in my line of work, I assist persons with basically achieving goals. That's how I sum it up. So if it is that you want to achieve a savings goal, if you want to do some form of investment, if you want to become a homeowner, if you want to purchase a motor vehicle, whatever it is that you want regarding finances, I'm that person that would assist you. Now, in order for me to assist you, I have to do some research, not only on what is happening in the business, but in order for me to adequately assist you, I have to do some research on you. So as a person coming to me to seek my services, I have to look into what is it that you're really interested? What are your goals? What is it that you're really aiming to achieve? And in me doing a research on you, I am better able to assist you and to point you in the direction in which you need to go. When it comes on to finance, I have to do research. I have to do what is called a credit report on you. And the credit report is basically me doing a research to see what are your finances looking like. What decisions have you made in the past? Have those decisions helped you? What implications do they have for me to guide you into your next phase of your life? Or how is it that those decisions that you've made in the past will impact the business that we are trying to carry out now? So research comes into our daily lives more than we know it. Research does not necessarily stop with us taking up a book and reading or us going to the library. It can be as simple as us reading a headline, or we see something pop up on our social media feed and we decide that this is interesting. So we pop up and we go through and we read. And from reading probably one article, it may give you an insight into a topic, into a situation that you didn't have prior knowledge. It may also pique your interest to push you to do further readings. And just like that, you're researching, and the information that you get from that can be very instrumental, possibly not only to you, it can be instrumental to people around you. It can be instrumental in some simple day-to-day decisions that you make. Let's say, for instance, one day you're scrolling on Instagram and you see a commercial pop up on your feed about hand sanitizer. And it may say to you, even though hand sanitizers may kill 99% of germs, but it is breaking through your skin and it's breaking the layer of your skin. And when you read that, there may be a solution mentioned. We need to say, okay, if the hand sanitizer is damaging your skin, but if you moisturize frequently, it strengthens back your skin. Then you would have learned something. You would have learned how to care better for your skin with this constant sanitizing that you have to do. And that is a research that you just carried out. And you now have knowledge that you can share with the people around you. Research, another important factor that research offers us, it disproves lies and supports truths. So as we know, again, not everything that we see, we must believe. There's a saying that says even salt sometimes looks like sugar, because if you know granulated sugar, it's not so easily to detect which is which if you're seeing both together. So we have to do our research to put things into context, to get below the surface of understanding what is being presented to us. Even in our studies, we may be in a classroom and a discussion comes up and someone may say, the teacher here not teach good, or the teacher can't teach. And you're not just going to take it to say, oh, the teacher can't teach. No, it is you now have to do the research and said, but if I've been in this class, or if this teacher has taught 5 students and 1 student of the 5 is saying the teacher can't teach, what are the other 4 students saying? And that is a research for you to carry out. I had to do one of those research while I was at Excelsior. I remember I was in a class with a teacher, and in my opinion, it was difficult. And with us, when we went into that class, a lot of students that would have been at Excelsior the year before or prior years who ended up in this class, they said, oh, this teacher is going to fail you. Everybody here, this teacher is going to fail you. You're not passing, nobody. Only 2 people passed the class. And that was a cause of concern for me. And while we were in the class, I started observing some patterns that were it wasn't comforting to me. So I really started doing some research. I spoke to some other students. I spoke to some lecturers, and I went to the Dean of Student Affairs, and I had a conversation to say, this is my concern. And from doing my research, I also got some suggestions and some recommendations as to say what can be done, being that this is a great concern for the class. And from the research that was carried out, it wasn't that it was a bad lecturer. It wasn't that he couldn't teach. It was just that his approach, it wasn't one that was liked by most of the students. And just by doing the research and taking the recommendations that were presented and presenting this information to the students that were in the class with us, we all came together, we took action, what was best fit based on the information that was gathered. And you know what, that turned out to be a very good class. And I don't think anyone in my class failed. And it was just simple research. So in our day-to-day lives, research is very important. It is not difficult. It is not boring. It is necessary. It's absolutely necessary. Once you have completed your studies, and for most people who will look to move on to begin their careers, or some people will be looking to grow from where they currently are if they've already started their careers, it will require some amount of research, because you would now have a degree, you would now need to see what is on the market, what is being offered out there, where positions are concerned, where compensation packages are concerned. You will have to do some research. When it comes on to you making personal decisions, for a lot of people now are interested in growth where investments are concerned, you will have to do research. You will have to, when persons are ready to purchase their homes or whatever goal it is that you set for yourself and you're ready to act on those goals, all of those goals will require you doing some amount of research before you actually take action. So in closing, I will say, guys, you have to open your mind to it in research and innovation. It is very important in everything that we do in our day-to-day lives, and we all can benefit from some research, and we all can share from whatever it is that we have learned through research. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. McGregor, for sharing with us. I particularly appreciate how practical again you were, but in terms of what happened in the classroom. So our students who are here, what's the takeaway? Do not listen to what others are saying about any of your facilitators. Do your research. You'll be surprised how it turns out. So thank you so very much. At this time, we're going to call on Miss Ayanna Tomlin, who will be moving the vote of thanks for both our guest speaker and keynote speakers. Ms. Tomlinson.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening, administrators, presenters, and audience. It is with great pleasure that I thank our guest speaker, Mrs. Borel Johnson, on refreshing our minds on the importance and why we do research and the various forms we do so throughout our daily lives. I am sure that a lot of us will be staying on top of things and will become more passionate about research and gathering evidence in order to be successful in our business life. And to our keynote speaker, Ms. Shamala McGregor, for reinforcing that research is necessary and we will get credible information for making it the best choice, making the best choices of oneself. And for the example she gave about our workplace, that was very good, very practical for us to understand even better, and also the fact that research may not be as complex as we the students may see it today, but it can be simple as she doing her very own research on how to become an honor roll student and of our lecturer in finding a better way for them to be successful in the class. So once again, ladies, on behalf of the Excelsior Community College and the Research Day administrators, I thank you. You both are the epitome of eagles soaring yet higher. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Tomlinson. I have to thank you for thanking them because it tells me that you were truly listening to their presentation. Now, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to an interesting part of our presentation, onto an interesting aspect of our presentation. We are going to listen to our students. Oh, thank you. Yes. So we're going to be listening to our student presentations, trying to share my screen now. So they have done the work and they are prepared to share with us. Now, at this point in time, I invite you to change your position, think about something else, because we're getting into what our students have prepared for us. So we looked at our alumni group. We'll see how well they're doing. How is it that research has impacted them? How is it that they're still using research in their lives? Let us now hear what our current students are doing. So our first presenter for this afternoon is Mrs. Dasana Lawrence Shand. Now, Mrs. Lawrence Shand has a thirst for knowledge. She's an avid reader. Her bio speaks of how many times she goes out to buy books, new and used, and she'll always be reading, reading. She believes that it's important for her to surround herself with people who support her dreams and being willing to help along the way. And she credits her husband for her success in that endeavor. She was the recipient of the Most Outstanding Student Researcher. She collected her award this morning in the opening ceremony. Congratulations. She's also the recipient of the Principal Award 2 years, 2 consecutive years. And she noted that she has experienced some challenge in completing her studies, especially because she has 2 young children with whom she must contend. And so finding that balance was critical for her. Now, on that note, we are looking forward to hearing her report on the investigation of the relationship between employee work-life balance, job performance, and job satisfaction. So she is living her actual research. So Mrs. Lawrence Shand, we look forward to your presentation. Mrs. Lawrence Shand, in the interest of time, would you want us to have someone else present until you sort out the technical difficulties?
Yes, please, as I'm not seeing a section of the screen. Thank you very much.
No, man, that's fine. We'll allow you that opportunity. All right, so stop sharing now, please, Mrs. Lawrence Shand. Stop sharing. Thank you. All right, so yes, colleagues, in the interest of time, we are going to move on to Mr. Malik Tyrrell. Now, Mr. Tyrrell is only willing to tell us that he's a student in the School of Computer Studies completing his Bachelor's of Science. Mr. Tyrrell's presentation will be looking at Turnstile Access Management System and App. So we're going to ask Mr. Tyrrell to share with us his presentation. Malik, you may go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Malik Tyrrell. Along with me are some of my colleagues. And today we'll be presenting on a turnstile access management system that we have developed to work with any institution, really, but it was mainly targeted at Excelsior Community College in light of COVID-19 and the various restrictions that it had. My fellow colleagues who are here with me right now is Gavin Walker, Josh Davidson, and Orlando Palmer. I do apologize for Tamika Spence and Tony and Wright. They were
I'm here,
unable
Malik.
to make it.
I'm
Oh,
here.
Tamika. Good. So with that being said, we'll move right
Report,
ahead.
Mali, is there an issue with us not seeing your face and your colleague's face? If it's a
Yes,
bandwidth
miss.
issue,
Yes,
we can understand. Okay.
Yes, miss.
Well, it's that some of us we're without a camera at the moment, and well, the place is actually getting dark, so you won't be able to see us as well.
Okay, fair enough. No problem. You may proceed.
Okay. So just a little introduction. We, as a students, we created a small tech company known as That Design, and it was established in 2019. We focus on improving competitiveness of small business through the integration of affordable tech solutions. So we strive to be a company that can cater to small businesses in the sense of creating dynamic solutions for their problems. With respect to this application, as I said earlier, it was directly tailored to Excelsior Community College and an issue that we have identified. So that being said, the problem, we recognize over the years whilst being at Excelsior that the current entry system that the college have was inefficient and unreliable, given the current pandemic that we are in. The current system does not keep track of people's names, only their temperature and time of entry. This was problematic. This is problematic as someone with a high temperature is simply turned away without recording their name. That was what we saw when COVID-19 just came out. The institution has no way of managing classroom occupants. Currently, any student can enter any room, even if a class is in session. This could also lead to social distancing breach, as rooms can randomly and repeatedly be over social distancing capacity. There was no system in place to alert students that a room is in use or when it is at capacity, which is a potential cause for the aforementioned problem. As of such, we developed a solution, and I now hand over to one of my colleagues to continue.
So our proposed solution is Turnstile. So Turnstile is an all-in-one access management system with its dynamic check-in system. Businesses can determine who can enter their complexes based on various criteria. Next slide. The solution features. So our first solution features dynamic check-in, a check-in system that allows remote check-in of students and staff before entering the campus. The next one is the dynamic access. The dynamic access feature can change student and staff access to specific room throughout the day. I'll hand over to Malik to continue.
Okay, so we had prepared a little pre-recording of our system to demonstrate and to show.
You can stop sharing. What happened is that due to the nature of the system that we designed, the application have to be run well. That and we didn't know how the share screen feature was going to play out or pan out. We pre-recorded the running of the system and the application, and I'll be doing a live demonstration of the other side of the system as well. Student and administrator would face. So let me just share my screen. Share song.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gavin Walker. I am the lead programmer for this project with a specialization in the mobile app. Today I'm doing a technical presentation of the mobile app portion of the Turnstile Access Management System. So let's get into it. As you can see here, that's the Turnstile logo, which was shown in the presentation earlier as well. Once you select the icon, you're presented with the login screen. Seeing as we had developed it in this case for Excelsior, we emulated the single sign-on interface or the single sign-on method So to sign in, you would use your school email as well as the password that you used to sign into single sign-on. So could use the email there. Removing feature works as you expect it. You select it, and the next time you open the app, you don't have to log in. Forgot password link. What it will do
So
is
Davis, you want to project your voice a bit?
entered in the email field with a link to reset the password. We also do have error checking features as well. So if you try to log in with a password that's incorrect, it will let you know. As well, if you try to log in with an email that is incorrect, it will let you know. Once you log in, you're greeted with this loading screen, just letting you know that we're getting things ready. Once you are on the home screen, you can see here itself.
Josh, pause a minute. Could you pause your recording? Put it to 100%? Could you put your audio to 100%? Okay, go ahead. Yes.
Is to restrict the flow of students onto campus as well as the different classes they have access to. So, as stated earlier, the dynamic access based on some criteria will be presented with certain pieces of information. As you can see here, the student has not completed the health check, which is shown at the lower end of the screen. So they're unable to see the class details for the day as well as their timetable. But you're still able to see if you're logged in, and you're still able to see your ID. So just an overview of the app before we do that health check. We have the timetable page here, we have the home page, and we have the account page. So the account page always works regardless if you complete the health check. If you need to reset your password, you can do that here. You need to contact support, you can do that here. Or if you're having some mismatch of information, whereas for instance, if the ID number or the name isn't correct here, or you're not seeing the correct course on the screen, you can always hit the resynchronize button to do that, or you can even log out. So now let's open up the app. To do that, or I should say, let's review some information, I should say. To do that, we would need to complete this form. The help form is available in the app or online, because you understand that sometimes your phone may not be working, or something happens that you don't have your phone, or you need to do that form as you come to school, or something happens that you're not able to access your phone. Once you have access to the internet, you can always go onto our web portal and do the help form there. More on that later. So we're just going to go through and select all of these options. So even though we said we had made this for Excelsior, this can work for any company that uses this software. Let's say for instance you have a business that uses this to give access to their compound. Let's say you have a repairman coming to do some repairs. You can change this form to be like a user entry form, so you can list where the name of the company, what work they're coming to do, who's the contact person. All of that information can be there, and based on the response they give, you can allow them access to your compound as a business owner. So it's not just for health purposes or for the school, we just did it for a specific client. So now we submit, and it alerts you that the status, we left out a question. I just see it all. Yeah. So it would alert you if you left out a question or if something is missing. You can do that as well. Submit, and now you see it says the status is saved. Once that's complete, you can see there's an icon in the lower right that is to return home. It's letting you know again, thanking you for checking in, and it's updating your status. And now we should see the home screen looking a little bit different. Now you can see that we're given more information on the screen. You can see here that we have the course code. So the tabs on the home screen, you're seeing the current class and your next class. Fortunately for the student, they only have one class left for the day, and it is their current class. So you can see system administration. You can see below that you have the course code, the room number, and on the right side we have the start time at the top and the end time below that. And you can also see here we have a button for a code. More on that later again. Navigating from that screen, you can see all the courses they have for today. So once you complete the health form, you have more access to information on the app, and that is, as we said, intentional. So once you know that a student is able to access the campus, then we give them information about the course. And you can see same information that's on the home screen code, but all these courses are passed, so the codes on the screen would not be active. So you can here we can see the system administration course. So coming back to the home screen, you can see that we have a button for code here, and that is to access the door system. So another portion of this system is the door or the classroom access. Not sure if this was mentioned before, but we have a modular system with 3 modules. We have the app itself, which I'll be demonstrating today, or right now I should say, and we have the web panel, which is the administrative side, and the door access, which we have a door simulator.
So in the interest of time, I'll just quickly breeze over to the other components that Gavin made reference to in the video, which is the door simulator as well as the web portal. We had created a door sim to basically create the hardware environment that would be, in this instance, Excelsior Community College, where there would be a keypad on the door. I'm setting my screen. So this would basically emulate the keypad that would be at the door, as well as the given buttons that would be in the classroom, as well as an emergency button that would have been positioned, whether it be in the active office and the HOD's office and the building, or in the principal's office, or in each respective class. So to quickly read, the class that was there was system administration, which was room 302. So the student would approach room 302 and punch in the code, which was shown in the video, 3772, which the student will press enter and the door will open. Now the door will be open for approximately 3 seconds, but as it can be changed by the clientele, which is there to prevent tailgating from students entering behind each other. Each student has to stop by the door and enter the code to have an accurate representation of gate of the number of students in the classroom. It works similarly with the exit option inside the classroom. If there's a student that wants to leave, they press the exit button, it will feed the information to the system and release the door. The emergency button works differently, whereas if the emergency is pulled, the system is completely shut down and the door would be left completely open for students to exit freely. The other component that was made reference to in the video was the web portal, which has a student and admin component, where the student component gave access to support features as well as the help form. As we said, that we had the help form posted on the server to allow for students to access the help form, whether in the application or from a computer. There's also a help area to get help with the application, where if there's an issue, they can reach out to the user manual, check the FAQ for any quick assistance or contact support, whether it be with the IT department in the school or a direct line to ourselves to help them with the problem. And the admin panel is just simply a panel that has roughly the same features minus or bar 1, which is the admin control panel for the management of the tables that are currently controlling and monitoring the information from the system. So if I should quickly look at the master table that is currently hosting the room that was shown in the video, we'll see the room capacity as well as the current room capacity, as well as the maximum capacity, and the start and end time of the classes, as well as the access code. It was not mentioned in the video, but how the system would operate is that the code would be removed as the classes continue throughout the day, and the student would lose access to the room. It also works in the same essence that once the class is about to start, the student will get access to the code so that they can get to their classes. We'll work in similar fashion with the teachers, and the technical support, such as IT staff, would have an access key or key fob or an RFID tag that would just give them free access, like a skeleton key. We built the admin panel as a means of a given, we have given access to administrators to add information to any given table that is displayed in the system, as well as to delete or update information. But seeing as the system was built for Excelsior, Excelsior would have their own means of managing their own database. We did this in the event that the system, the person getting the system doesn't have access. That and we're simulating the area and database, as well as the single sign-on database in the school. With that said, that would represent our presentation. We thank you for taking the time to listen to us. And yeah.
Thank you so very much, team. I could sit and listen to your demo or watch your demonstration all evening. So many things. Are there any questions quickly before we move on? Or is it that we wait until the others are presented? Dr. Malcolm Walker's comment is a wonderful innovation, particularly at this time. Well done. It's mind-blowing. It's really mind-blowing. Are there any questions? Miss Clark says, awesome job. Concur. Mr. Shand is asking, how did calculus 1 and 2 help in the innovation? I'm smiling because you just had to get in math somewhere in it. Gentle people, can you answer that quickly before we move on?
The formulas that were used to generate the information, as well as to get the access codes or our breaking point for calculus 1 and 2. So we use that as a seed and a function to generate the access code to a 4-digit number, as well as we generated or created a function to add the capacity while checking against the active capacity of the room that is set in the database.
Okay, awesome. So we're seeing mathematics in action. Just to vocalize some of the comments, great job, very interesting from Miss Berry. Dean Sawyer's highlight, the presentation exemplifies research and innovation. And Mrs. Campbell, head of school, well done guys, and congratulations to your lecturer, Miss Williams. Mark Shot, good. There's an or else. All right, Mr. Rose, I noticed your hand raised. We're going to take you as a final word. We're going to ignore that or else from Mr. Shand. Go ahead, Mr. Rose.
I must commend these guys. They did well. And I realized that a lot of the areas that we covered in advanced networking, they were implemented within this project without me even knowing, which is good. Good job, especially the security features and the remote login. Realize that you guys have implemented that. That's good thinking. Good job.
Okay, awesome. I certainly hope that this is not the end of it. I certainly hope that you intend to take this as far as you possibly can and have a meeting with our principal and vice principal of academic affairs and institutional advancement. All right, so we're getting the thank yous. All right, very well. Mrs. Lawrence Shand, I want to get back to you. Can you confirm if it is that your technical difficulties have been sorted out?
Yes, certainly.
So you're ready now?
I am ready, right.
All right, go ahead, Mrs. Lawrence Shand. We're gonna forgive you and not take the 2 or 3 minutes that you took earlier, so you have 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much and good evening. Okay, so I'll start. I am actually using 2 devices. Murphy visited me earlier. That's Murphy's law, but I've corrected the problem somewhat. So I'm using two devices. All right, so my research is an investigation into the relationship between employee work-life balance, job performance, and job satisfaction. The research focused on the relationship between employee work-life balance, job performance, and job satisfaction. The research paper reviewed a present-day theory known as work-life balance. It defines work-life balance and examined why it has become an important topic for research. This research topic explores the connection between work-life balance, job performance, and job satisfaction within the workplace. Numerous scholarly articles on the subject were examined and cited to illustrate various dimensions of the topic, and the workplace was Excelsior Community College. The difficulty of balancing work and family life is an emerging complexity with which both employees and employers face. Sometimes work interferes with other very important activities, and as such, a decision has to be taken as where the priority lies. While an organization may be impacted by the lack of work-life balance, the employee's mental and physical health may also be affected. In addition, their family, friends, and associates may be affected indirectly. Many attempts have been made to remedy this problem. This is evident based on numerous literatures around this topic. The researcher conducted this study, which is another attempt at solving this problem for an institution and its employees. Okay, so that's the purpose of the study, which is kind of repetitive, so I'll just move on to the guiding research questions. What is the relationship between employees' work-life balance, job performance, and job satisfaction? That is the guiding research question, and the sub-questions are, what's the relationship, number one, what's the relationship between work-life balance and employee performance? Number two, what's the relationship between work-life balance and employee job satisfaction? And the final question is, what is the relationship between job satisfaction and performance? So definition of terms. What is work-life balance? Now, according to Garg and Yojavidi of 2018, work-life balance is essentially putting measures in place to maintain a comfortable work environment for employees so that they will be able to strike a balance between the job and other life priorities. What is job satisfaction? According to OPFA, it's 2018, job satisfaction is the feeling employees have toward their work and place of work. Employee performance, according to Wooler et al., employee's performance is the result of a person's work in carrying out the duties and responsibilities given to him and how much the employee contributes to the organization. It includes the expected output in terms of function combined with behavior when a task has been assigned. Okay, over to the operationalization of the variables, and the variables are work-life balance, job satisfaction, and job performance. Okay, so how operationalization is basically how these were measured. Job satisfaction was measured with a 15-item scale adopted from an instrument reported by Heyman in 2005. The original scale consisted of 19 items designed to assess 3 dimensions of work-life balance. 1 would be work interference with personal life, 2 personal life interference with work, and 3 work personal life enhancement. In the study reported in this paper, the respondents were asked to indicate the frequency with which they have felt a particular way about their jobs using a 7-point time scale, where 1 was not at all, 2 rarely, 3 occasionally, 4 sometimes, 5 often, and 6 most of the time. The reliability for the work-life balance scale, when it was measured on the Cronbach Alpha, was 0.829, and that meant that it was good internal consistency. For Cronbach Alpha, a low of 0.6 would be poor to a high of 0.9, which would be excellent. So we could see that this reliability for this particular scale was close to excellent. Anything above 0.7 would be considered very good for any scale that's adopted. All right, so we're looking at the scale number 2, which is the job satisfaction scale. Job satisfaction was measured on a 10-item scale adopted from Hills, Joyce, and Humphrey 2012. This scale was selected because there was very good evidence of reliability. It's a 5-point Likert type item scale. Each scores as 1 very low, 1 very dissatisfied, 2 moderately dissatisfied, 3 not sure, 4 moderately satisfied, and 5 very satisfied. In this particular study, the respondents were asked to respond how satisfied or dissatisfied they were with each of the various aspects of their work. And this scale, when it was measured on the Cronbach Alpha, the score was 0.765, and that would be very good as well because it is above 0.7. And for the final variable, which is job performance, a 3-item scale related to time, quality, and quantity was developed to rate job performance. The responses varied: 1, not at all; 2, rarely; 3, sometimes; and 4, all the time. The respondents were asked to indicate the frequency with which they were able to complete various dimensions of assigned tasks. All right, so the significance of this study. The results from this study will be deemed very valuable to a number of persons who have to play a role in the lives of employees. It will help to inform human resource strategy development at the institution to better enhance employees' work-life balance. The employees will benefit with more knowledge regarding the topic. The employer will get anonymous feedback to help in decision-making. Also, it will have facts as a reference. This research also will contribute to the body of knowledge that already exists on work-life balance. So numerous articles were reviewed in order to put this research together. These are some of the literatures. All right, so Dagogo and Oyubo of 2020 posited that employees with heavy workloads were reported to have low work-life balance, which is connected to the demonstration of poor job performance. Work-life balance improves the employees' and organizations' performance, according to Punio and Cabot 2013. In that, good work-life balance is most essential for every individual to be more efficient and effective, thereby attaining job satisfaction, which in turn ensures success in his or her ventures. Additionally, it is generally established, according to GAR 2010, that work-life balance is important for an individual's psychosocial well-being, for elevated self-esteem, job satisfaction, and overall sense of harmony. All right, so we're going to look at some of the drawbacks of the policy. And we go down to Milner and Gregory, 2019, which is the second paragraph. According to them, all right, there were adverse consequences for employees' well-being and performance at work where employees' needs were unmet. They further elaborated that even where work-life balance measures were extensively available in organization, such measures were not extensively utilized. And this was because employees associate using all these measures with not being able to use other measures as they come along. For example, using the company's car and things like those. They think that that might prevent them from being recognized for other benefits. So that was one of the reasons why they would not use all of the work-life balance policies that were available to them. Pocock 2005 said that take-up has been linked to the factors that make up the organizational work-life culture, such as the extent of manager and co-worker support, the career consequences of taking up a work-life balance measure, organizational time and expectation, and gendered perceptions of policy use. So for some work-life measures which were available, for example, if there was a daycare at the institution, it was noted that only females would use it and not the males. So that's what he speak about when he said gendered perception. For example, if there was a gym at the institution, males only would use the gym. Sometimes within organizations, work-life balance measures often are aimed at top-ranked members of staff or specialists in an effort to retain them, but oftentimes they are unable to utilize the measures owing to job responsibilities and expected deliverables. So,
Mrs. Lawrence Shand,
yes.
Don't mean to throw you off your game, but you have less than 4 minutes. Could you move to the findings?
Okay.
Yes, we're interested in hearing the findings.
All
so
right.
we can wrap up. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So in the interest of time, I'll move on to the findings. Okay. So work-life balance has been found to be a factor that contributed to the improvement of employees' performance, which leads to overall organizational productivity. This is where we are comparing a literature versus what we found. According to this study, there is a moderate positive relationship between employees' ranked work-life balance and job satisfaction. All right, so move on to the next finding. According to Garg, there was a significant relationship between job satisfaction and work-life balance. High quality of work-life balance will improve the job satisfaction, especially for working parents. However, in this study, the hypothesis revealed that there is no significant relationship between work-life balance and job satisfaction. So the conclusion is that there was no significant relationship between work-life balance and job satisfaction. And discussion of the finding, I'll just go down where it says a positive relationship was predicted between job satisfaction and job performance. However, there is evidence that there is a negative relationship between both. As performance increases, job satisfaction decreases. So the conclusion is that there is evidence that there is a negatively weak relationship between job performance and job satisfaction. All right, and limitations of the study. Low response rate, as only 168 persons responded out of a total of 320, which would be 52.5%. And the persons who answered face-to-face would probably not have felt anonymous, and that could have affected their responses. Some questions could have led to misunderstanding. The limitations, respondents could have been given more time to respond. It was only 9 days, right? And sensitization of the population. All right, so the conclusion, right? Based on the results of the study, there is a positive relationship between work-life balance and job performance. However, the relationship between work-life balance and job satisfaction was not statistically significant. In addition, there was a fairly negatively weak relationship between employee performance and job satisfaction. As such, a study was meaningful as it yielded significant results. All right, and these were the recommendations that another study be conducted, and that also the institution implement work-life balance program to help the employees. All right, and these are the references, and that's the end of the presentation.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Lawrence Chand. I'm really so sorry that we had to rush you in the interest of time, but it saw the makings of an excellent presentation. Mrs. Whittaker indicated very good presentation. Miss Clark earlier was looking out to hear what your findings would reveal. She said she was waiting keenly to hear the findings from the research. Mr. Shand, the mathematical person, commented on the value of the Cronbach alpha. Continuing with the good messages, Dean Sawyers-Hillard agreed that it was an excellent presentation. Dr. Malcolm Walker is very detailed, and it's clear that you understood the research concepts. She has a question. We're going to get to the questions shortly as soon as we're finished with the comments. Mr. Shan is commenting that the correlation coefficient of minus 0.26 is very relationship between the bivariate data, and that sounded like French to me. So I will allow Mr. Shand to really open his mic and ask that question. However, there are two questions here, Mrs. Lawrence Shand. Sorry, two questions and 1 point of clarity. So Dr. Malcolm Walker is asking, what was your sampling procedure? So we'll allow you to answer that question first. Could you talk to us quickly about your sampling?
Yes, a census was done on the population at the Excelsior Community College. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure Dr. Malcolm Walker was expecting a little bit more. You said you had what,
52.5% responded.
Okay.
The total population was 320 employees. 168 responded. It was an online survey. However, data was collected manually from 20 ancillary staff who did not have access to the online platform. So it was actually an online survey that was done, sent out through the HR, through the emails.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mrs. Lauren Shand. Ms. Clark is asking a rather provocative question. Do you find that HR and management actually listen and try to implement the suggestions from such research? What are your thoughts based on your research? Ms. Berry is concurring with that question. So you want me to repeat the question?
Yes, Miss, go ahead.
Do you find that HR and management actually listen and try to implement suggestions from such research? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they should listen. I am not sure if they actually listen, as work-life balance implementation policies can be very costly to organization to implement. Okay. So, right, I would probably advise organizations that are thinking about implementing work-life balance policies to help their staff members to get a feedback from staff in terms of conducting a survey to find out what measures they would need to be implemented. Okay. Don't just go ahead and just randomly implement something, because you may do that and that's not what they want. That's not what satisfies their need. So find out what is it that they desire, and then you take it from there, or majority counts then.
Okay, very well. Yes. Thank you very much, Mrs. Shan, much appreciated. I must comment on something that Mrs. Henry Richards says. It's a very interesting topic. In the interest of time, we really would have wanted more details. The platform is available. Perhaps, you know, we have our HR, we have our vice principal. It can be a matter of conversation among our staff, and we can actually hear more about your findings. So we're leaving it open. Ms. Clark says she wants to suggest the population is hesitant in responding to surveys as they're unaware of who the researcher is. So chances are that might have been your challenge with your research. Mrs. Lauren Shand, you have opened up a can of worms, and you realize that our lecturers are really into it. And the platform is there, and we're certainly hoping that we can get an opportunity to delve more into the findings of your research. And I know I did say Mr. Shan was supposed to clarify something. Not sure if he's able to clarify.
I am. So, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. So I am exactly where Miss Miss Ryan Clark is. So which is why I commented on the negative 0.26 correlation between the bivariate data. I'm going to ask the Sana if she could just put up that section again for me, please. Where
So,
that
Mrs. Lawrence had a little technical difficulty earlier. It might be a challenge for her to put it up now.
Oh, okay. So what I'm saying to you is exactly what Ryan Clark just spoke about is what I was getting at in terms of the negative correlation between the bivariate data. So the hesitant of persons may answer the questionnaire or may not answer the questionnaire truthfully because they don't want to give a negative impression on the institution, which is why chances are the correlation came out to be negative 0.26, which is very low, suggesting that there is actually no relationship between the two components. I'm not remembering what two components she spoke about. So I think she's almost there. Go again, there's one more time. What were the two components you're talking about? Work life and what?
Job satisfaction and performance.
All right. So I am sure if I don't know if when it is that you're doing the research, if you gave an overview as to the reason for doing such a research. So it is that the respondents will feel a little bit more comfortable in answering so that you get a true reflection, because this topic here at such a time as this, when we are in a pandemic and had to be working, in a sense that we have never worked before, I thought the correlation coefficient would have come out to be something like positive 0.95 to show that the strength of the correlation between the bivariate data. But nonetheless, a very good research. I would love to have this on our website so it is that we can read through and I can look at it. Congratulations for a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. And on that note, thanks again, Mrs. Lawrence Shand. We truly appreciate your presentation. And we will be changing gears a bit. So we are moving on, and this time around, I'm going to ask that our next two sets of presenters, we have to keep within the time. We are literally 28 minutes away from the end of this session. It means, therefore, that you have to keep within your time. So this presentation, we have Ms. Monique Dakers and Mrs. Danila Chambers Brooks. So Monique Dakers, Danila Chambers Brooks, they're both fourth-year nursing students. Ms. Dakers is determined to become a nurse anesthesiologist and critical nurse care in the future. She believes that rigorous nursing research is essential as it provides a body of knowledge that will advance nursing practice, especially in her area of interest. And for Mrs. Chambers Brooks, she believes that she can make a difference in the nursing fraternity by giving excellent patient care through evidence-based practice fostered by nursing research. So I hand the virtual platform over to both persons who will be looking at the investigating the relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, ages 70 to 60. Ladies.
A pleasant evening, one. Are you able to hear me?
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, wonderful.
You're free to go ahead and start. We are hearing you.
Welcome back to another episode of ECC Live. Just in, another multiple motor vehicle accident has occurred with multiple injuries sustained by passengers. But the true question is, How will they afford these medical expenses? Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we will be presenting on a secondary analysis investigating the relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, ages 17 to 60 years. And as you know, you have Monique Dakers and Daniela Chambers as our presenters today. I am Monique Dakers, and I'm pretty sure you're seeing my colleague, Daniela Chambers. Recording in progress. So, the research objectives is to determine the frequency of motor vehicle accidents in different areas of Jamaica among individuals 17 to 60 years of age. 2, to investigate the relationship exists, if a relationship exists between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, 17 to 60 years of age. Thirdly, to explore the maximum and minimum out-of-pocket expenditure occurred in public facilities for purchasing medication, excluding costs covered by insurance. Handing over to Daniela.
Okay, so now the purpose of the study is to determine the relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, ages 17 to 60 years. Now, the hypothesis, or null hypothesis, says there is no relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, 17 to 60 years of age. And the alternate hypothesis states there is a relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability among victims of motor vehicle accidents in Jamaica, age 17 to 60 years.
Okay, the background. Road traffic accidents are one of the leading causes of death, disability, hospitalization, and decreased economic advancement worldwide, and account for approximately 20 to 50 million non-fatal injuries every year. Aute et al. 2021. Despite the global impact of the pandemic in fostering less driving, there still exists an active upsurge of road traffic accidents and injuries. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the United States estimated that about 38,680 individuals lost their lives in 2020 by motor vehicle accidents, otherwise known as MVA, which is an increase from 36,096 fatalities in 2019, NHTS 2021. Comparatively, in Jamaica, the National Road Safety Unit disclosed that the COVID-19 implementation of curfews and lockdowns in the country since 2020 did not deter the high incidence of road traffic accidents on the island. Borel 2017.
Now, areas of incidence of the motor vehicle accidents. Now we begin the literature review. So Abigaz and Gebremedhim 2019 study done in India revealed that urban areas were 2.5 times more prone to motor vehicle accidents, with the odds of 0.0033 in comparison to rural areas with the odds of 0.0013. Similarly, the National Center of Statistic Analysis 2020 agrees by making reference to the American Community Survey 2018, which reported 33,000 33,654 motor, of which 14,760, which is 44%, remaining, and the remaining 2% occurred in non-rural areas. The impact of socioeconomic status and medication affordability among motor vehicle accident victims. So Brichard et al.'s study, which measured medication affordability, argued that medication expenses consumed most of the family's income, leaving a minuscule amount to meet additional costs. Whereas Atella et al.'s 2005 study concurred that the increased cost of medication had led individuals to fill their prescription partially, not fill it at all, waiting until they are able to fill it. So in contrast, Pickens' 2019 study refuted those studies by postulating that it is not merely low socioeconomic status that leads to the decreased acquisition of medication, but rather retention of cultural practices via folk medicine and also individuals' belief systems. We'll look at the expenditure accrued in public facilities for purchasing medication. So the literature revealed that a higher burden of out-of-pocket payments is associated with an inability to afford the medication. So Selvaraj et al. 2018 study conducted in India revealed that approximately 38 million persons were divulged into poverty due to medical costs. So according to PAHO 2012, a study done in Jamaica on the access to healthcare reported that on average, a minimum of $1,413.50 and a maximum of $2,600 was utilized at public facilities for medication purchase, exclusive of the cost for insurance, in comparison to the more significant costs accrued at private facilities. Now we'll move on to the methodology.
Okay, so the research design. The research study was a secondary analysis of the Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions 2018 study. As such, our study adopted a descriptive cross-sectional design. Cross-sectional research design is non-experimental and aims to observe, describe, and document different sections of a situation. Pollitt and Beck, 2017. So the data collection retrieval process, the data used for the secondary analysis was retrieved from the Derek Garden data bank from section A, which focused on injuries and expenditure. The data analysis was analyzed using a descriptive and inferential statistics using the SPSS statistical software. Inferential statistics used the chi-square test to determine relationship between socioeconomic status and medication affordability. Presentation of data was that of using graphs, figures, and tables. So here we have table 1. This is just a demographic of the sample, in which we have the old and the young, which we have 62.2%, a higher percentage in the young than the old. We have a higher percentage in the female than the male, and so on. And it's also seen that in the areas we have more percentages of accidents happening in the rural area, Next slide. Okay, so this is a pie chart showing the prevalence of motor vehicle accidents in different areas in Jamaica. And as you can see, we have more accidents happening in the Kingston metropolitan area than the rural area and other areas in Jamaica. So this is our chi-square test, as we accepted our non-hypothesis as the p-value was greater than 0.05.
Sorry to interrupt, ladies, you have 1 minute left.
Okay, and these are just some of our tables. So this is the discussion, Daniela.
So table 1 revealed that most of the sample were aged 17 to 35 years, and this was represented in as percentage 62%. Okay, and figure 1 revealed that there was a high prevalence of motor vehicle accidents in the Kingston metropolitan area with 23.1% in comparison to the areas. So Juilliard et al. 2012 study concurred that motor vehicle accidents foster physical ailments that are likely detrimental to medication affordability. However, the findings of this study revealed in Table 2 that there was no relationship between poverty as a socioeconomic status, socioeconomic factor, and medication affordability. Figure 2 found that there was a higher percentage of persons who did not purchase medicines publicly than those who actually. This study revealed in figure 3 that motor vehicle accidents, the out-of-pocket expenditure for purchasing medication within the public facility was found to be 50% of being low cost, 35% of being medium cost, and 12.5% being high cost. So this finding corroborates with Gabe et al. Study that revealed that out-of-pocket expenses among motor vehicle accident victims for treatment were generally low due to the undenied injury compensation schemes and health insurance policies that we have here. Similarly, Morris 2018 conducted a study in Jamaica on accessibility of healthcare and reported that on average, a minimum of $1,413.50 and a maximum of $2,600 was utilized at public facilities for medication, exclusive of the insurance. So we have a few. Okay.
Ladies, unfortunately, it's 7:47, means that we've gone 2 minutes into the other person's presentation. Sorry. You want to quickly do the health implication, just this slide, summarize it, and then we move on to our next presenter.
Okay. So increased incidences of motor vehicle accidents can negatively influence the population size and workforce and ultimately a country's gross domestic product. Lewis 2019 asserted that the WHO states that motor vehicle accidents accounted for 3 to 4% drop in the GDP due to expensive treatment costs, which can spiral up to US 7.1 million. Motor vehicle accidents have high levels of fatalities worldwide. Therefore, health professionals need to educate patients on adhering to road safety standards to reduce motor vehicle accidents. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Monique and Daniela. Much appreciated. Sorry that we had to cut it. Here's what's gonna happen. There's a question in the chat, but I'm gonna ask you to do a running response to that question. So you're gonna stop sharing screen, and while we are waiting, let me introduce the others, and then I'll vocalize the question that Mr. Shand has asked in the chat. So excellent presentation. You know, as usual, we'd love to hear more. However, Mr. Shand, so I'm multitasking now. So Mr. Shand just asked the question. Could you give us a summary of your recommendations? Just 30 seconds or less, because Monique Lockhart will be prepared to come shortly thereafter. So could you give us 30 seconds or less recommendations? Any one of you? And while we're doing that, Monique Lockhart and Sapphire Nelson, could you start sharing your screen, please? We're cutting very, very, very closely into your time. All right, so they don't wish to come in now, but let me just quickly vocalize some of the comments. You were going to say something, Monique? Monique? No? All right, so we started off by hearing how lovely your voices were. You are fit for the television. Miss Clark is suggesting more single people are in accidents. Your colleague Janelle really giving you that push, that encouragement. Miss Simone Shirley, good job. Monique and Daniela, Kimon Malcolm, well done. Chambers and Dakers, good job, ladies. Good job, great presentation so far. Good job, well done, great job. Excellent topic, good topic. Can't overemphasize how excellent a job that you're doing. But at this time, at 10 minutes to the hour, we're going to invite Monique Lockhart and Sophia Nelson, who will be looking at the relationship between socioeconomic status and physical disciplinary methods used with children less than 9 years old in Jamaica. Ladies, your turn.
A pleasant good evening, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, so our topic today is something that I think everyone, if not, well, most persons, if not all, can relate to. So our topic is a quantitative study, which we want to find out the relationship between socioeconomic status and physical methods of discipline used with children less than 9 years of age in Jamaica. So our objectives for today, we want to determine the relationship between the socioeconomic status and the physical methods of discipline used with these children. We want to investigate the physical methods of discipline most frequently used. And we also want to explore the difference between the methods that are used in the rural as opposed to the urban areas. So a little bit on our background, we have found reports from the United Nations Children's Fund that 80% of children around the world are punished in one way or another by their parents. Smith 2012 also reported that over 2 decades ago, physical punishment was accepted worldwide as a means to discipline children because it was seen as a suitable method of evoking behavioral adherence that was ideally distinct from physical abuse. In Jamaica's culture, though, we find that the physical methods of discipline, it would involve practices such as hitting or slapping the child in the face or using some form of object and this would be to beat the child hard and repetitively. And this was posited by UNICEF 2019. It is also revealed that 79% of children who were subjected to violent discipline belong to the poorest household in comparison to 52% that are from the richest household. And this was also stated by UNICEF. So the use of severe physical punishment is 5 times higher among children in the poorest families than those in the wealthiest.
All right, so we have a brief literature review. So Taylor et al. 2010 posited that half of the participants in their study, they reported that children were 2 times or 3 times spanked per month. Also, Borel et al. Postulated that spanking was used most frequently to discipline children in the age group to 2 to 10, while Amakotov reported that spanking, in addition to verbal punishment, was used most frequently. Brown and Johnson, 2008, they agreed that children in rural areas, they experience harsher physical punishment than those in the middle class. However, Akmoto, 2010, dispute this. He reported that persons residing in the urban communities experience also physical punishment. And in addition, he also expressed that verbal punishment was used as well. Okay, so our research question was 1, what is the relationship between socio-economic status and physical method of discipline used with children less than 9 years old in Jamaica? We also wanted to find out what were the type of physical method of discipline most frequently used. And our hypothesis was 1, there is a relationship between socio-economic status and physical method of discipline use, and there is no relationship between socio-economic status and physical method of discipline use with children less than 9 years old. method and the material. So for this research, it was conducted using a secondary analysis of data collected from the Jamaica Survey of Living Condition, and a quantitative approach was used. A cross-sectional study design was used to collect data about the variables as the information they were captured during a one-point period. And a total of 16 household section was selected for the sampling, a sampling size of 480 primary sampling unit, and a total of 7,680 households. A total of 4,546 were from the Greater Kingston metropolitan area, while the outer urban area had 1,311 and the rural area 2,292. We use a random stratified and cluster sample design was used to divide the parishes. And also questionnaire were used to collect the information.
Okay. All right, so looking at our results, we have this table that is showing the relationship between the socioeconomic status that and for these are for persons below or above the poverty line, and the physical method of punishment. And this was being specific to slapping and beating. And we realized that out of a total of 1,770 persons who were questioned, the majority of these persons said, the majority of the persons below the poverty line, they said yes, while the ones above the poverty line, they said no, that they do not use this method to beat, to punish their child. So the other table is showing that the physical method of discipline most frequently used, we had selected slapping and beating with the hand or with the objects, and we have realized that majority of the persons, they which accounts for 66.2%, they say that yes, they use these methods to punish their child or children. This is a bar chart showing the comparison of the harsh punishment which is used in the rural area as opposed to the urban area. And we realized that the results have shown that in the rural areas, majority of the persons use harsh physical punishments when they are disciplining their children or child. So for the discussion, it was revealed that there was no significant relationship between the two variables. However, Wang and Liu 2014 explored multiple variables and found that harsh physical methods of discipline were mostly directly towards boys or children aged 7 years of age and were carried out in households by either mothers, young fathers, or high and low socioeconomic status parents. Khoury, Kasabri, and Strauss 2010 also found some association between the variables mentioned, and they added that ethnicity and the mother's educational level may also play a role in the types of physical methods of discipline that is used. We have also found that slapping is the most frequent method used in children less than 9 years old, which accounts for 66.3% of our sample size. Taylor et al., 2010, they also affirmed with us, and they reported that half of the mothers use spanking at least 1 or 2 times per month, while a quarter reported using spanking more than 2 times. Akhmatov 2010, he stated that slapping as well as verbal punishment is the most frequent method, and that these methods, they are usually based on maternal race, ethnicity, and emotional responsiveness. So basically, they're saying that, sometimes mothers or parents, they are going through other issues and they may very well take it out on their child or their children.
All right, and in conclusion, even though the study denotes that there are no significant relationship between socioeconomic status and physical discipline method use, however, we found that our recommendation was that, because we believe that, one, because of the sample size, because we had a small sample size, so we believe that that was one of the contributing factors. Also, in addition, most parents won't answer the questionnaire truthfully. So our recommendation was that parents, they should be mindful of how they punish their children because of corporal punishment. Also, we recommend that, if they find a more, I would say, ideal method of punishment for their children. And we also alluded that adequate resources should be provided for persons in low socioeconomic environment to help reduce some of the psychological stress and encourage the use of positive method of discipline children. These are references, and thank you so much for listening to our presentation.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You guys actually made it in less than the time. Your colleagues are in the chat and they're highlighting how wonderful a job you guys did. It was really, really awesome. Practical, it resonated with me. I listened carefully because, having a young child, I look to see, okay, to what extent is this study reflective of my disciplinary measures? So thank you so very much. Awesome presentation. We are wrapping up, we're ending. However, there are two things that we should have done. If my participants will allow me just 2 extra minutes. One, the group before, we were asking, or the comments in the chat was suggesting that you put at least a recommendation in the chat. So that's one. And two, any questions for this group, this pair of presenters? Any quick question?
Yes. Sawyers Hewlett here.
Go ahead, Mrs. Sawyers Hewlett.
Was there a gender difference?
Ladies, Monique, Sophia.
Can you?
Sorry. All right, go ahead, Monique.
You're asking if there was a difference in terms of?
The disciplinary measures.
Well, what we have noticed is that the boys, they basically get a harsher punishment than the females. I don't know if that answers the question that you're asking.
Does it, Mrs. Sawyers Hewlett? But they did mention something of the sort, and it's usually from boys 7 years and up. I saw that. So if I were to call, so does that answer your question, Mrs. Sawyers Hewlett?
Okay. Thank you for that. So
there's a feedback on your end.
Okay, so the risk.
All right, so while Mrs. Sawyers Hewlett works out her audio, Mrs. Henry Richards is suggesting that, there's a follow-up research where you investigate how that affects the boys. So something to consider. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Oh, Mrs. Sawyers Hewlett.
Okay, hi, hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay, great. So you answer the question in terms of the gender difference with the child. So males were punished more harshly than female children. What about the parents? Did we find that mothers were more likely to punish harsher than fathers, or fathers more harshly than mothers?
Okay, so we did find that because one of the things that we had looked at was that especially for a single mother, sometimes, because of the psychological stress that she may going through to having to take care of a child or more than one, it would take a toll on her. So what we have found is that mothers tend to beat their children more often than the fathers, because most of the time these children are with the mothers. The fathers are non-existent, or they are not around. So we found that the mothers, they are the ones who actually give these children harsher punishment than boys. If the fathers are available, then you know that the punishment may be harsher, but normally it's the mothers who are actually the ones who do more of the beating.
Thank you so very much. Mrs. Chambers Brooks, I noticed your hand up. Thanks, Monique.
Yes, Miss, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay, must apologize for the delay. So one of the recommendations that we had was there was a need for further research, because especially in Jamaica, most of the most of the findings that we received, they were not replicable to Jamaica, only a few. And also because it was a secondary analysis, we had no control over the original data collected, and motor vehicle accidents was not well represented in that data collection. So we were recommending doing further research on this topic so that we may be able to get a more wholesome feel of what the real result or what another result would reveal, because at this point it was not representative. It was not represented well, because there was just a small portion of persons who met in motor vehicle accidents in the overall research. So we were recommending, doing further research and also education, because as some of our literature would have revealed, not only is it accredited to the mere not being able to afford the medication, but other factors such as do these people think that it is important to take medication? Do they think that probably herbal medicine or bush medicine would that be a better option for them? So that is what we were thinking.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Shand has suggested another research direction or interest. He would love to see a correlation between single parent and both parents being present in the household, and the mother versus father. An interesting exploration. Ladies and gentlemen, persons who are here, thank you so very much. I find that these student presentations were absolutely awesome. What stood out for me is the ownership that you had of your topic. You knew your topic inside out. You could talk about it with such confidence that you had us salivating, wanting more, just really resonating with us. So we thank you so very much. I'll echo Mrs. Samuels Bailey. Sorry, the chats are going so fast. Excellent presentation. All I will concur. You stayed with us. It was a long evening. We appreciate it. Mrs. Samuels Bailey congratulating her students, Monique and Safia, saying well done. And yes, Dr. Malcolm Walker saying showed real confidence in sharing your work. Actually, that's what stood out for me. You knew what you were doing. You're confident about it. And it is a sort of catalyst for others to come and share their presentations. You have done the work, you have invested the time and the energy, and we really appreciate the fact that you came out and shared with us. And this now is an opportunity for you to tell your other colleagues that they ought to be a part of Research 2023 as we get the opportunity to hear their voice and appreciate the work that they did. I will have to end by agreeing with Mrs. Whitaker that it was an evening well spent. I was on top of this was really intellectually stimulating. So thanks to all persons who were here. We appreciate, thank you, Dr. Malcolm Walker. We We appreciate your being here. I noticed that we started off with like 84 persons, but what I noticed is that most persons stayed the course. It couldn't have been easy because most of you were here from 9 o'clock and you remained with us and you remained engaged, as you could see the level of interaction that came in. So thank you so very much. Thanks to the team for putting on this awesome evening symposium. Thanks to everyone, much appreciated. And we know that come 2023, when we have Research Conference 2023, we are going to be having similar energy. As a matter of fact, we're going to put the energy even further. So thanks much. Enjoy the evening. If you have to travel, please be careful and be safe on the road. Get home safely and be ready to tackle the next day. Have a wonderful evening all, and thanks again for sharing with us. Thank you, Mrs. McDonald Henry. All right, good night all.